The entire world saw it. Donald Trump rapidly, cognitively, and physically deteriorating before our eyes in front of the entire world. Donald Trump passing out during NATO summit sessions. Donald Trump referring to Iran as the Islamic Republic of Japan. Donald Trump referring to the JCPOA as the JPOC, the JPOC. Donald Trump not knowing where he even was. Donald Trump struggling to get up the stairs of Air Force One and not flying the Qatari Air Force One for reasons that haven't fully been explained yet, although Donald Trump said that he feared an assassination attempt could be taking place. The whole world saw Donald Trump making weird faces at world leaders. Let me just show you piece by piece, receipt by receipt, what was going down so you can see for yourself what was taking place here. Donald Trump talks about how Iran is the Islamic Republic of Japan. Play this clip.
We had 111 missiles shot by the Islamic Republic of Japan. They were shot at the...
Then Donald Trump proclaims at NATO he would make the best communist. He would be like Lenin, is how he refers to Lenin. Here, play this clip.
Easy to sell. I would be the greatest communist in history. I'd be right up there with Lenin. I'd be as good as anybody. You've got free rent for the rest of your life.
Then Donald Trump refers to the JCPOA as the JCPOC or the JCPOC. It's the JCPOA. Here, play this clip right here.
The Obama deal, that was one of the worst tragedies that happened. That's what happened in the Middle East. That deal set back that whole situation. They went with it. Frankly, they picked the wrong country. They picked the wrong country. JCPOC. What a terrible deal. I call it the Obama nuclear waste deal.
Then Donald Trump says that Turkey is a great company, that the country is a very good company. Here, play this clip.
I want to thank President Erdogan, who's really a great man. He's a great leader. He's a friend of mine, been a friend of mine for a long time. He's a strong person, a very strong personality, and that's why he runs such a successful and good company.
We then saw Donald Trump passing out asleep during a NATO summit session. Let's play it.
Covered within 3 years, even before the pledged date. We have allocated an additional budget of 20.
Donald Trump then turns to Zelensky and starts calling Zelensky Putin. Here, play this clip.
Do you have a question for President Putin, please? Do you have a question for President Putin? Not Zelensky.
And then Donald Trump says, okay, pretend I'm Putin. Ask me questions and I'll answer for Putin. Here, play this clip.
Last year you called Russia a paper tiger, referring that they're not doing that.
Who did I call?
I'm from Telegraph UA, Ukrainian media.
No, give us a question, not for Zelensky. Give us a question for Putin.
Why is he attacking Ukraine
because I'm
cities
speaking
if he
to him
wants
today.
peace?
Yeah.
Why is he attacking
a good,
Ukraine
hard
cities
question.
if he wants peace?
When will he end this war?
That's a good question. I don't think I've ever answered that question. I've been asking that question.
Mr.
President, what's the status of a drone deal between the U.S. and Ukraine? What's the status
By the way,
of a
I will tell you, though, he's going to tell you that he wants it ended as soon as he can end it. He wants it ended. He wants to end it soon. And I ask him, and we talk. I talk to him a lot. I talk to him a little bit less, but the relationship is very good. But I talk to President Putin a lot. He wants to end the war. A lot of people don't believe that.
Doesn't he want the status of a drone deal between Ukraine? What are President Putin's conditions for ending the war? Do you know what?
Well, they were certain conditions that were a little bit different. I think they're changing. I think they're probably getting a little bit better toward some of the things that you'd like.
That's what you were doing as NATO, role-playing as Putin, either because you're such a Putin bootlicker or because you've been calling Zelensky Putin. You were pretending to the press that, oh, that must have been saying, let's ask Putin. I'm Putin. I mean, how stupid is that? I'm Putin, everybody. I mean, could you imagine if anybody else behaved like this? Then a reporter says, Ukrainian reporter, what's your assessment of Ukraine's ability to strike Russian oil refineries? Pretty basic question. If you're following the news, you know that the Ukrainian drones, the FP-1 and the ballistic missiles, the FP-5 Flamingos, have been striking the Russian oil refineries. The question was clear. Everybody could hear it. Donald Trump's like, rephrase the question. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Marco, Polo. I didn't say Polo. Marco, can you answer? Here, play this clip.
Mr. President, what is your assessment on Ukraine's strike on Russian oil refineries and military factories?
Where are you from?
Ukraine.
Phrase the question differently, please.
Ukraine delivered strikes on Russian military factories and on oil refineries, and they ran out of gas.
Marco, why don't you answer that? Because you're right in the middle of it.
Yeah, no, I think what you're discussing is the ability of Ukraine to reach deep inside of Russia and conduct strikes. Sure. I think that's one of the dynamics that's changed in this war over the last few months, and that is that Russians are finding it more difficult to defend their own airspace.
Then Donald Trump's like, and this is like the real psycho disinhibition, genocidal maniac. And then he just like has this tantrum. It's like, and we're gonna destroy the desalinization facilities in Iran, water facilities. We're going to destroy their electricity. We're going to destroy their infrastructure and their bridges. I mean, this is quite literally like you're speaking like Hitler. I mean, you are just talking about war crimes loudly and proudly in NATO, where future generations of Americans and current, but especially future, go, how the hell did this happen to America? The stain, the taint on the United States of America, the embarrassment, the humiliation ritual. Here, play this clip right here.
The highest level of the bridges, they're which we can knock down. I would say in one day we knock down every single bridge in Iran. There's not a thing they can do about it. Their electric manufacturing facilities, right? Their electric plants where they make their electricity. We will, if we have to, we'll take them out. I don't want to do that, but if we have to, we'll take them out. They have desalinization plants. We'll take them out if we have to. I hate to do that. That's probably the one I would like not to do least.
Then Donald Trump's like, tic-tac, I'm number one on TikTok, and all I do is talk about communism. You're not number one on TikTok, okay? It's not even true. I'm TikTok, I talk about communism. The hell are you talking about? Here, play this clip.
Dangerous, it's so horrible. They're spreading all these rumors. And the numbers came out yesterday. You know who's number one on TikTok? I am. I'm number one on TikTok. And all I talk about is how bad communism is, right?
You can see Donald Trump's hands were rotting again, which we've been pointing out. He wears makeup all over his hands. Here was Donald Trump trying to walk up Air Force One, the old Air Force One, because the Qatari Air Force One was, I think it was in the UK. And then Donald Trump was pretending at the Royal Air Force Base, and they made up some excuse about why he wasn't flying on that one. But anyway, here he is walking up those stairs. Let's play it. Making weird faces at world leaders, posting AI images from 2025 of Iran that aren't even, I don't know why you're posting 2025 images of Iran. I'll show you Donald Trump trying to walk up those stairs one more time. You can see for yourself. It's him trying to walk up again slower. And then let me share with you some footage of Donald Trump trying to go down the stairs of the old Air Force One as he arrived at the Royal Air Force Base in the United Kingdom, as he was switching Air Force Ones with the old Air Force One to the Qatari Air Force One, which, by the way, massive waste of taxpayer dollars. And also they're covering up the real reason why he didn't fly the Qatari Air Force One out of Turkey, which obviously is close to Iran. We'll learn about that soon. But just look at him struggle to get down those steps as well. Look at as he struggles to get down the steps. And then let me highlight what went down 2 days ago. So 2 days ago, Donald Trump cognitively and physically declining as well. Let me share with you what he was doing then. It's not looking good for Donald. His health collapsing before the entire world. This is exactly what we predicted. Now Donald Trump is getting mocked in countries like Russia for his cognitive and physical collapse at NATO. I'm sure you saw what went down. We covered it, but let me bring some receipts to talk about just how bad Donald Trump looked physically, cognitively, and this resulted in real world consequences as well. We saw the United States back at war with Iran after Donald Trump making a horrible decision and striking Iran yet again and pulling out of the Memorandum of Understandings requirements of the general license to Iran for Iran to ship its crude across the world. Take a look at Donald Trump declining on the world stage. You can see how slowly he shuffles from his car, as Call to Activism puts it. Let's play it. Of course, there are all these photos of Donald Trump being literally propped up and held by President Erdogan of Turkey, as Donald Trump didn't know which way he was walking. Russian TV made a very big story out of this, that Donald Trump had been cognitively and physically declining in Turkey. He needed the help of Erdogan and Ankara just to walk in a straight line. Here, play this clip. And you can see also Donald Trump looked very tired, very lethargic. As he was trying to listen to the interpreter, it looked like he was going to be falling asleep again in Turkey. Here, play this clip.
Bu daha önce aldığımız sözün sen geleceğe yönelik olumlu şekilde test ettiğimizi biliyorum ve bu konuda da
I never thought I'd say this, but I've actually become obsessed with doing laundry because of laundry sauce. The very first thing I notice when I pull my clothes out of the dryer is just how incredible they smell. The scent lasts, my clothes feel fresh all day, and it's a huge upgrade from the basic detergent I used to buy. I also love that the pre-measured pods make laundry completely effortless. Just toss one in and you're done. Laundry sauce doesn't just smell amazing, it actually performs. The pods are packed with bioenzymes that tackle stains while helping keep your clothes looking and feeling like new. And if you really want to upgrade your laundry routine, they've also got scent boosters, fabric conditioner, dryer sheets, and fabric refresher spray. It's turned one of my least favorite chores into something I don't mind at all. For a limited time only, our listeners get 20% off your entire order when you use code MeidasTouch at laundrysauce.com. That's 20% off your order at laundrysauce.com with promo code MeidasTouch, MEIDAS20. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. It's time to make Laundry Day the best day of the week.
More photos right here of Erdogan really clutching Donald Trump, holding him up. Again, he looked really bad. I'll show you how they were covering it on state regime media so you can see for yourself as Erdogan clutched a wandering Trump's arm to guide him around. Let's play this clip.
Told the Iranian leaders, whoever they are, I'm staying out of this.
Right.
And then they rocketed Turkey a couple of times. So now they said, and they've said some negative things about the Turkish leader at the Ayatollah's funeral, the never-ending funeral he's on. So they said something negative about Turkey. So he kind of risked that alliance for the president.
Let's listen in to this.
please make it empty, please.
He just stopped briefly.
Then during the initial press conference at NATO, I mean, it was just an absolute disaster. Of course, you had Donald Trump being asked very basic questions by the press, like, is the Turkey missile defense system going to be handed over to a third party as part of any F-35 deals? Of course, that's a reference to the fact that Donald Trump, during his first administration, sanctioned Turkey because Turkey bought Russian air defense systems, and there was a law passed by Congress that said if you buy a certain amount of Russian weapons or air defense systems, you'll be sanctioned. One of those sanctions is you can't get access to American F-35s, and there's also a bunch of other financial sanctions that are part of this package. But Trump did the sanctions against Turkey during Trump's first term. So the question was a basic one. Like, if you have a very basic understanding of the Turkey relationship, the question is, well, if you're going to remove sanctions from Turkey and give them F-35s, are you going to claw back the Russian defense systems so they don't have that anymore? And Donald Trump's like, what are you talking about? What does that even mean? What does that mean? I mean, you're aware why Turkey's being sanctioned by you. You, Donald Trump, sanctioned him. Here, play this clip.
Is the missile defense system going to be handed over to a third party as part of any deal with F-35s?
What does that mean?
Is it going to be handed over to a third party? Is that not part of the deal?
Third party? What is the third? With respect to what?
There's our concerns about the Russian missile defense system. Do you have those concerns about this system? Are they going to have to?
I have no concerns at all about anything. I mean, he's a leader of a country that he's made a much better country, much more powerful country, and you see it. I mean, it's beautiful. You get off the roads of your life.
And then Donald Trump announces that Marco Rubio, his Secretary of State's a very famous man. He goes, Marco Rubio, very famous man. Have you heard about him and how famous he is? We've agreed to lift all of the sanctions against Turkey. And Marco Rubio had testified before Congress the other day, in early June, that wasn't going to happen. So Marco Rubio was surprised by this. Donald Trump just blurts it out. And it's unlawful. It requires a congressional law. It requires authorization. But Donald Trump just says it on the international stage. Here, play this clip.
I can tell you, we're going to be taking the sanctions off. Okay? I don't want him to waste his time answering that question because we're working very closely with Marco Rubio, a very famous man, great Secretary of State, and with Scott Bassett and with Pete and everybody else. We're going to be taking the sanctions off. It's time to do that. Okay? We don't want to sanction friends. It's very simple.
Just so you can see what Marco Rubio testified to under oath in Congress, I'll show it to you right here. Let's play it.
Let me just ask you a quick question about something that Ambassador Barrack said, changing the subject a little bit. He compared Israel to Hezbollah, for one thing. That was a pretty concerning comparison. But also he said Turkey should join the F-35 program. These comments are inconsistent with law and longstanding policy. And I'm just wondering what your position is as Secretary of State. Can Turkey get F-15s and F-35s or not? What if we seem to be helping the bad guys and not the good guys?
Well, as I'm sure you're aware, Turkey actually was in the F-35 program. The reason why they can't get them is because they purchased the S-400 system
That's right.
from the
They
Russians.
still have those, and they're still under mandatory sanctions because
Correct.
of
So
it.
as you know, that's governed by statute.
Okay, or not?
Well, right now we don't have that choice because it's governed by statute, both provisions of the NDAA and the statute.
Out there saying that.
Well,
Representatives. And then Donald Trump thinks that he and Erdogan are like friends or like lovers and they have great chemistry together. So that's why he's doing it. Me and Erdogan, we're friends. We get along so well. We have great chemistry right from the very beginning. And this is what we've been seeing, the disinhibition by Donald Trump, where he always talks about how sexually attracted he is to a lot of the male authoritarian leaders who he comes into contact with, the head of UAE, Prime Minister Modi in India, El-Sisi in Egypt. And here he does it again with Erdogan, that he's like, we have a great relationship. We had great chemistry, very special relationship. Here, play this clip.
As everybody knows, it's been very much reported. We are great friends. The president has done an incredible job. Just landing at the airport, to see such a beautiful airport, and to have a building named after me. I was very happy about that. That was very nice. The airport is absolutely beautiful. The roads coming in were brand new and beautiful, and he's been a great leader and a respected leader all over the world. And we really do. We've had right from the beginning good chemistry. We've had a very special relationship.
And then Donald Trump was asked, okay, you've been making social media posts where you say that Giorgia Meloni, the prime minister of Italy, needs a restraining order. Those are pretty harsh words to say about a leader from a NATO ally heading into a NATO summit. You're essentially accusing her of stalking you and harassing you so that you need a restraining order against her. And then Donald Trump's I like her. I actually like her. She's a nice person. We've had a good relationship. I didn't put a heavy press on her. That's what it is. I didn't put a heavy press on her. Doesn't that sound like when he was in the Access Hollywood tape? I moved on her. I put a heavy press on her. We're really a sick human being. Here's what he says. Let's play this clip.
Can you clarify what you meant with your social media post yesterday with respect to Prime Minister Meloni? That True Social post with the restraining order?
Oh, I don't know. I think she's a nice person, actually. We had a bad relationship, but it became a little bad because she refused to help us. Again, I didn't put a heavy press on her, but she refused to get involved with the hormone trade, or you could also say just Iran. She refused to get involved. So it soured my relationship with her a little bit. But I like her. I think she's a nice person, actually. But I think she made a mistake. They get a lot of their oil from. We don't get any of it. We have a lot of oil. The United States has more oil than anybody. And when you add Venezuela to it, it's like we have far more oil than anybody. We don't need the Straits. We do this because we think it's an important thing to do. But she just wasn't there for us. And I wasn't happy about that. You can imagine, I wasn't happy about that.
And as I said, this stuff has real world consequences. Donald Trump's cognitive and physical decline. I mean, apparently, right after these meetings that I'm showing you, Donald Trump approved a massive military operation against Iran. He was meeting with Hegseth and Rubio and Bessent, who were with him on Air Force One, chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Dan Kane, by the way, was never qualified to be the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. Literally, he had to get a waiver. They got rid of C.Q. Brown Jr., African-American leader who was 4 stars, but they had to replace him because Pete Hegseth didn't want a black leader of the Joint Chiefs. So they replaced him with a guy named Dan Kane. And so they made the decision, let's strike Iran. That'll show them. That'll show Iran. They'll back down. No, Iran's not backing down. They're going to keep control over the Strait of Hormuz, and they're going to escalate. And you've already blurted out that we're about to be in an economic depression, is what Trump said. And we're about to hit tank bottom, is what Trump said, in terms of the strategic reserves. Iran knows that. They're not under a delusion that that's not the case. So they're very familiar with that. And again, while we have someone behaving the way Donald Trump is, you have the same time this CNN story breaking about one of the things that led to the Trump regime and Netanyahu engage in the war crimes in Manab, slaughtering 168 little girls and 200 people there. But thousands of people in Iran were killed by the Trump regime, innocent people. U.S. military commanders bypassed warnings that intel on potential targets in Iran was severely out of date and approved some strikes, including one that hit a school, killing nearly 200 children and adults, based on years-old info that was not updated before the war started, per multiple sources to CNN. Decision was made for expediency under pressure to provide targets at start of conflict, per 2 sources, right? We saw the decision-making Donald Trump just made in Ankara. Terrible, terrible, terrible stuff. But it also directly contributed to an accidental strike on a school. And it was other places, too, that the Trump regime hit. The Pentagon is pressing everyone to move faster. A lot of former hedge fund people and made-for-TV personalities are in the mix now at Pentagon. But leadership at CENTCOM did not push back either. Then you have Netanyahu going on TV yesterday saying, Iran has chemical weapons. They're just doing the Iraq thing again. And again, I'm showing you this because you've got this malicious, malignant, narcissistic, cognitively physically declining thing in Donald Trump. And everybody's just like, he's never equipped for this. And it's just way worse right now that he's in this position. Here, play this clip.
There's always the talk about the nuclear weapons. The thing that always frightens me and that nobody ever talks about, maybe this doesn't involve Iran or not, but it's biological and chemical weapons. Does Iran have biological and chemical weapons in their supply?
They definitely have chemical weapons. That I can tell you. And that is another danger that they pose.
Yeah, so let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Tell me what you think about all of this. I mean, I think this is a major story that we need to keep on covering every day. Corporate news won't do it, so we'll do it. We'll do it. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to add the MeidasTouch podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts for new updates every single day.